Hey, good evening, guys. Hopefully, you guys had a really good weekend. Just want to quickly go over the charts being made. The charts for this coming week. Let me squeeze this in so we can take a look and see what the ES is doing. I guess many traders I'm reading are expecting some type of volatility expansion, so probably some testing to the downside. Let me take a look really quick and see what we're doing overnight. So far we made lows of 12 quarter, so that's 1, 11, 12 quarter. I'm probably expecting some type of test of about 1105 before there's any type of bounce, to see what happens at this level. Does it reject off the price a few points above this composite low volume node? Let me expand that and zoom in so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Okay, this large deep valley here, right, is an LVN on the composite. We've held that level a couple times so far, right here, and the other extreme being made beyond on the underside of 1100 ES. So probably see some type of test there and bounce. If we fail that, likely test of 1091, the lows of the range for the last couple months. Put this back up for you guys. You can see again the start of this range that I have on the micro gold composite. That's the gold composite is a macro composite, is the August 4th, and then the last Friday's date, which is September 30th. One thing that I do want to take note is that the previous macro composite VPOC, volume point of control, is the teal line here. The most contracts traded at any one price in the entire range from August 4th to August 29th was 1185 even. If we include Friday's price action, you can see that the micro composite VPOC shifted down to 1138, 1137 3/4. So we were trading from VPOC to VPOC, high volume node to high volume node in this micro composite range here from August 4th to September 30th. As the VPOC shifts, it just basically makes it much more difficult to see, okay, which way do we really break? Do we break away from this balance area down here, this high volume node, right, with the micro composite VPOC at 1138, and go and create more business down south underneath 1091 quarter? Or do we go back to the previous high volume node of about 1185, 1190? So looking at the chart itself and just eyeballing the trend lines, we're below both trend lines again, and sitting in a range of where these two candles were below the two white and yellow trend lines. Where do we go tomorrow? I don't know. Likely to the downside. If we hold the lows, test back up here, back to the composite high volume node as one target. And each one of these extreme high volume node and low volume node levels can be used as a gauge to see, do we move from one to the next, or do we reject and turn back around? So that's all that price action is buyers and sellers constantly trying to find fair value. And how do they find that? Is by price discovery and interpretation of news and all that jazz. So I'll be emailing this chart out to you guys so you guys can use to see what perhaps downside or upside targets we may have. I don't know if I want to include the NQ because it looks a little bit intimidating, but I'm just going to go over that really quickly. Friday was pretty interesting. I had a tough time trading ES, but switched to NQ and I seemed to be doing a lot better with that. But the start date for the NQ microcomposite range is August 2nd, and the current date, most recent date was Friday, which is 9/30, September 30th. I drew these trend lines to just try to see what potential channel support we may be keeping on the NQ, and it doesn't matter any way you draw it, we're underneath all those trend lines given Friday's price action. So if we lose this, the NQ chart for some reason is much more sensitive to high volume and low volume peaks, and so that's why you see so many darn green and red lines. But if you look at the black composite itself and just eyeball the larger, more extreme high volume nodes and low volume nodes, the high volume node that we need to keep and hold for any type of support to perhaps back test these trend lines or go back to the microcomposite VPOC, which is 2194, 2195 area, is that we need to hold this high volume node price range of about 2114, 2115, 21, anywhere from 2112 to 2115. If we hold that area, there's a possibility that we may jump back to another high volume node above, notably probably 2173-ish. There is some type of Apple announcement probably talking about the iPhone 5 release that could probably spur some buying. I'm not sure to what extent, but just keep an eye out for those kind of shenanigans, being that we should logically expect some price action downwards. You can never know exactly where we turn and pivot, but that's why the high volume node and low volume node areas can give you some type of judgment call of where we may be testing. So downside targets for NQ 2115s, then would probably be 2082, 2050s, and the further downside targets, which are actually the low of the range. You see this really deep valley here, that low volume node on the composite LVN, is coinciding also with the lows of the range being made. So as you can see, at that particular price around 2025 is where we jumped and bounced each time that we tested that level. So watch price action at that level. Do we hold it? Do we go through it? Do we tick past it and run back up? How does price behave at that level? Because price should reject it. It should either fly past it or it should bounce right off of it. So for text, that's kind of what I'm looking at for the NQ. I'm going to pull up the hourly chart and not go too much in detail regarding the intraday charts from Friday. Boom. And you guys can take a look and see so far over the last, this was 9/27, where we made a high of 1190, the most recent high, and each time that we've been trying to test up that crazy squeeze that we had on Thursday, it came back to that trend line, and then we haven't been able to hold or get back above it. So so far bearish action, obviously, and this is pretty much telling me that possibly overnight action, we'll probably look at 1105-ish before it bounces. If it gets under that, probably a test of 1100 even, the century figure, and then underneath that would be 1091-ish. So keep an eye out and see what tomorrow does, and I'll see you guys in the trading room. I'll be emailing these charts out, and if you guys have any questions, again, just feel free to ask me anytime. Okay, hope you guys had a great weekend and enjoy your night.